my name is Quentin Baumgardner. As far as the festival goes, I think I've done almost everything at one time or another in different roles. And I've been involved since the first meeting where we got together to talk about it, which I believe would have been spring of 2007. We had the first festival in 2008, and I was doing mostly minor PR and social media stuff at the time, and then evolved more into local talent, which was part of my history, played in local bands, and then eventually chairman for a while, and logistics of different sorts, technical support, application development for like the phones, a little bit of everything. Fundraising like everybody has to do. You have to give full credit to the Norman Arts Council, which exists because the city is gracious enough to support it through hotel motel tax. But you know, it would have never happened if it hadn't have been for a strong Norman Arts Council, and there were president and executive director, Marta Burcham, executive director at the time, and Jim Wilson was the president who worked at Republic Bank, and they had the vision of a festival. Myself, I had been doing other DIY stuff around town, so I just kind of landed on the team. And we took about a year and a half to plan the first one, not knowing if anybody would show up. It was much smaller, 27 bands played. There were 2 outdoor stages, and I think we used the Opolis and Sooner Theater. So 4 total venues, one day. And we didn't know if 2 people would show up, 200, 2,000, and we ended up having 13,000. It kind of blew our minds.
Yeah. What was that like to see that?
I just couldn't get over it, you know, because I grew up, the younger years of the city in the 1980s, it felt like the powers in the city at the time would kind of hold back art development, especially in the music area for some reason. So I fully expected to have issues with that, but what I found, what we all found, was the city was populated with people that were more my own age at this point, and they wanted it to happen, and were very supportive. So it was amazing to see it happen, and then it just, you know, took a fast track growth from there. For the first 4 years actually, it was a project of the Arts Council, and then we became our own nonprofit. And that was, you know, an extreme learning experience, because you go from having the guidance of a organization that's been around for 3 decades to having to become a baby organization that people aren't as familiar with. Fundraising was harder, it was scarier, you know, everything about it. But we had, you know, really good people on the team. That we had volunteer lawyers that could do things for us in that area, and you know, some pretty good fundraising people, and it worked, you know. And I have to mention Fowler. They've been with us since the very beginning as a significant sponsor, and there's no way the festival would exist without them, at least not in the form that it is. So where to go from there? Some of the other things that it takes, you know, the things that you never think about are permits for building stages outdoors, the logistics of bringing in fences and porta potties and insurance and rain insurance, and whether or not you want to get it rain insurance, and if you get it wrong and they don't pay, like happened last year, and that was kind of my fault. But it's some of the other aspects of a festival that are kind of invisible. You know, we used to get a lot of comments in the early years about people saying, wow, everything went so smooth. It just like seemed to just happen. On the inside, it doesn't feel that way, but when it executes like that, you're just like, you're very pleased and extremely relieved.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of the fact that it's free. Over the years, a lot of people have said, you should charge. And you could bring in bigger bands and be bigger and better. And I'm like, well, you can go to South by, or you can go to ACL, and it's a short drive. And we're something different than that. It's a different personality. We've also seen a lot of pay festivals fail in Oklahoma over the years, and I think it becomes a harder thing to do. So for a variety of reasons, I'm happy that it's free. I hope it stays that way forever.
My name is Bowie. I am the PR chair for Norman Music Festival and have been a board member for the last 5 years or so. I first started volunteering with the festival in 2012 when Portugal the Man was here and Other Lives and clearly several other things. my key role is being in publicity and working with social media and all of our media outlets. So I'm the one that's in charge of kind of like reaching out to people so that they learn about the festival, who's performing this year, who our sponsors are, and whatnot. It's interesting because a lot of clients will sometimes ask me, because I run like a PR freelance thing on the side. And some clients will say, well, I heard that you do Norman for free, so why can't you do this for free? And really, I feel like I owe a lot to the festival, a lot to the board, and the people who started the festival. I got to work with Jonathan Fowler a little bit when I was at a PR firm. Josh Lunsford. I mean, there were so many people I feel I have to thank for getting me not just a foot in the door with the festival, but a foot in the door of where I am now. So to me, I feel almost in a way indebted to the festival, and I just love it. You know, I feel it opened a lot of doors for me. It's this fun event that my friends and I can all go, and even though we're working the event, it doesn't really feel like work. And it's hard to turn down being part of something as amazing as like a 3-free-day festival. To me, it's important because I just feel like there aren't that many other things that are like it. You know, Norman is like this little town that could, this little town of festivals. And maybe people don't realize that it's a full volunteer board who works year-round on it. And then coming to a place like Elemental, which is a very core area of downtown too, like you just see how important it is for people to say like, oh, I didn't even know half those bands, but I want to come because it's a big event, you know? And we want them to know and feel appreciated, because I feel if we didn't do that, they wouldn't care as much anymore. But I truly just love knowing that everyone comes together, and it's like it's a collective that like, hey, we all love music, we all love Oklahoma, we all love Norman, and it's like a thing that helps us escape some of the crap that happens in the state. You know, like you can just escape from it, even if it's just for a few days, and I like knowing that I can be part of something like that.
I'm Ryan Lacroix. I am part of the Norman Music Festival talent team. We book all of the 350 plus acts that play NMF, and I've done this for 5 years. Quentin Baumgartner asked me roughly 7 or 8 years ago to start rating some bands. So when bands apply, you know, we get 700 bands that apply almost every year, and we have to start culling through those to see who should be booked at Norman Music Festival. So I handled that part for a long time with a handful of other folks, and then I was asked to join the board about 5 years ago. Well, first of all, it's kind of like a big Jenga puzzle, because not only do you have to rate and review the bands, you have to figure out where they fit. Was this band on the outdoor stage last year? Should they be maybe moved indoor and another band given a chance this year? Is the venue 21 and over? Is there smoking allowed? Does the band not want smoking? So there's a lot of different things. Or, you know, the band is only available on Friday. They're not available on Thursday or Saturday. So a large part of it is just kind of rinse and repeat. You have to kind of place them, look at it. Oh, those two don't work because the qualifications don't work, or they share band members with another band playing at the same time, so we have to switch things around. So it really is a complicated process, but it's one that we always find new bands that we didn't know about, and we are always surprised by the amount of submissions that come in. And yeah, the idea is that we give bands a place to play that maybe bands that aren't on the normal gig circuit, maybe this is their first time to ever play, or maybe they haven't played in years. But yeah, it's a complicated puzzle to try to figure all that out of who, what, when, where, and what else it conflicts with. So yeah, it's a long-winded answer, but it's a long-winded process too. We know that we give a lot of bands a platform, however big or small, to play and to be seen by thousands of people. But we know that we're also breaking a lot of people's hearts too. So that's arguably the hardest thing emotionally, I guess, is that, man, this is a bummer because I wish we had 700 spots. But outside of that, it really is just the logistics of it all, figuring out who, what, when, where. Sure, well, it's a three-member talent team. Myself, Josh Boydston, and Quentin Baumgartner. And, you know, our heavy bulk, heavy lifting really happens, it happens as far back as June. The festival ends in April. We'll have about a month where we don't really speak to each other. We just kind of go our separate ways. And then June, we kind of start the conversation about who we want to see at the next one. We start planning a few things here and there. Josh starts reaching out to booking agencies. And by October, generally we have an idea of who are the 1 or 2 big bands that we want to get. We make our offers, and we always hope by December 1st we have 2 or 3 big bands already locked in. We open up the band submission process in November. It lasts through December. We compile all those and start listening through January. February and March we start sending a lot of offers out, and then we have a festival. And so it's almost a year-round process.
I've played quite a few Norman music festivals. I'm not sure how many. I've never played it with Cheyenne though. It's always been some version of my solo show. Most of them with the band, but a few have been solo acoustic. But this will be the first Cheyenne show at Norman Music Festival. Before the band finally stopped playing, I hesitate to say broke up because we never said, hey, we're breaking up. We just, life happened and we stopped playing. But before that, before we stopped playing, we'd recorded a 3rd album. And time went by and we all liked the record a lot, enough to do something with it, but we weren't in a position to play, you know, some kind of final show or to celebrate that record properly. So we released it without much fanfare or really any way to promote it properly. And that was about 5 years ago. And so re-releasing the first record on vinyl and playing this reunion show has a nice, feels like a little bit of putting a bow on things. Cheyenne was the first thing I did that anybody paid attention to and that I got any kind of nice reaction or feedback from. And I made so many friends and connections, and so many great memories are associated with playing with Cheyenne. So I'm really looking forward to just playing those songs again, playing for the people that like those songs again, and playing with the guys again. It's going to be just a great time.
I heard about the Norman Music Festival right when I just got introduced to the hip-hop world here. And I met one of my good friends, who's now a close friend, Adlib. And we were working on projects together, we were working on songs. And at that time, Puzzle People was really something popping here in the city. And because of that, he had me perform with him on his set in the Red Room at Norman Music Festival. That's where they put all the hip hoppers at that time. Yeah. All hip hop was in the Red Room, unless you were JB, which was beautiful, which I got a chance to connect with all these people I didn't know. So we performed for the first time, and I had a fever that day. I remember it was terrible, but I still did it, and it was a great show. And that was my first impression of Norman Music Festival. And I was thinking, man, this is great. I never even knew about this. I want to come back. I want to keep coming back. And it just grew my passion for going out there and just seeing how many people really just came out to see local talent. And being a hip hop artist here in Oklahoma City, you don't really get that love a lot. So just to see this hundreds of people just surrounded by the stage and trying to listen to what you got to say. It was a great feeling. I will be on the main stage this Saturday at 3 p.m. It's it's almost overwhelming on the amount of feeling we have for that main stage, because it's been blood, sweat, and tears to trying to get to that point. This is a big accomplishment for my band and myself, and we really don't know how to receive it right now, because it's awe-inspiring. Because last year we performed at the second biggest stage, and it was over 300 people. We didn't realize how crazy it was gonna get. We just did our set, and people were just so energetic. I remember turning in my capstone paper that night, and right before I get on stage, I'm just like, yes, you know. So it was this intense, just the emotions and feelings. And luckily, one of our good friends from ACM was running sound, so we were like, can we do an extra song or two? Yeah. So it was a great feeling. We ended up getting people on stage. I was like, yeah, come on stage. I'm not famous yet. That's okay. They won't do anything to you. The security guard was like, he's right. So they let him up, and it was just so much feeling. And some of my friends that performed prior, like Sativa Prophets, Chief Peace, we got those guys on stage with us, and we just kind of rocked it out. I think it was Nathan Poppy. He took a picture and ended up on the news. I was like, wow, this is great. Yeah. Like, what? You know, and it was just a great feeling. And after that, we were looking at each other. We were like, man, we're gonna get that main stage, man. Look at this, you know. Norman Music Festival, one, from an artist perspective, is a way to be able to express yourself to a mass audience that normally wouldn't hear you. And it's important because last year we did the show, and people were talking about it from the beginning of the year all the way to the end of the year. And we gained a lot of fans because of that. We gained a lot of supporters. And what we decided to do with that was to express how we felt, and people saw that we were honest about our feelings and honest about what we were stating through our music. On a business perspective, I think it's really important as a community because more businesses and more partners, they understand that there's talent out there, and that can boost their brand to support people who are adamant about positive energy and good vibes, and you know, just really being Oklahoman. Really, that's what we do. We're just good people, and that's what we love to share that good vibes to everyone else, and you know, that we come in contact with. So I think it's important. So if you get on Norman Music Festival, you know, spread good vibes, share your positivity, share your story, and you know, make a memory that people won't forget.
I remember Doug Hill in Norman asked me after year 10, he asked me last year, he was like, how much longer are you gonna do this? Like, are you gonna come back next year? And I told Doug, I was like, honestly, I think someone would have to kill me for me to not be here anymore, because I just love it. I mean, it is the highlight of my year.
A couple of years ago, we established this tagline of sorts, free original Oklahoma. We wanted to make sure that the festival almost always stayed free, and we are dedicated to making that free because we want it to be open to everybody. Free to apply, free to attend. Original, because we don't want a bunch of cover bands playing Norman Music Festival. We want this original music to come out, and we want people to hear that. In Oklahoma, a large part of it is Oklahoma bands. I would say roughly 85 to 90% of the bands that play Norman Music Festival are from Oklahoma. We even bring some bands back that maybe have an Oklahoma connection, but maybe they live in Nashville now. And so we want to bring them back so that they have relatives and friends and family that are here that want to see them play. And that good to me, that's where that third one is really where it lies to me. It's the Oklahoma bands. A large passion of mine is Oklahoma music. With my radio show, with my formal website, Oklahoma music is one of my passion projects. And anytime that I can help Oklahoma bands in any way and celebrate them, it's a big deal for me. Norman Music Festival. Norman's where I went to college. It's where my wife and I lived for several years, and it's fun to see that happen in a town where we used to have no festival. You know, it used to be find out where the Legion Hall is and go to some DIY show there. And it's fun to be able to, for 3 days in April, everybody, you know, everybody's going to be in the same spot. You know, everybody's going to be there celebrating music. It's almost like a reunion of sorts for a lot of folks. Some bands treat it as reunions. And it's fun to see people from all ages, all races, all genders. They're celebrating, having a good time, hopefully forgetting about anything that's going wrong in their life right now, and just enjoying 3 days.
Well, it's just been a satisfying passion to help create something that I hope, that we all hope, will be a legacy for Norman. You know, to see that it's almost like a game day at this point. A friend of mine coined the phrase hipster game day, which is kind of what it's become. But it's also the sort of thing that whenever I was a much younger musician playing, I would have loved for that to exist, to go participate in it. So there's a different level of satisfaction. It's almost even more satisfying to be on the other end, creating an opportunity for that next generation. And then hopefully pass it off to somebody that will do cool things with it that you wouldn't even thought of yourself. So that's what I like. It's been very satisfying to be part of what looks like it's going to be a Norman tradition, or Oklahoma tradition.